The witness said that the headlights may have been on. Then, in the early hours of the morning, Brianna's ex-boyfriend, James Robertiel, drove by again and spotted the car, but his story kind of changes. He said that he had been drinking, so maybe this was why, but he said he pulled over, saw no one was there, and noticed the headlights were on and the doors were open, so the front driver's side of the door and the passenger's door. He said that he may have turned off the lights and shut the doors and drove off because he didn't want to get in trouble. The following day, a member of the public reported the car there, and like the witnesses said, it was parked at this kind of weird angle and seemed to be kind of up a little bit, but it didn't really look like there was much evidence of like an actual crash. The rear bumper was kind of stuck on the foundation of the house. Police showed up and there was no sign of anyone there, but what there was in the vehicle was a water bottle, some loose change, and also some unopened paychecks of Brianna's. Now, this gave the officer a little bit of a clue as to who the car might belong to, so he did head over to Brianna's place of work to ask them, but it was closed up. So eventually he just towed the car. Prior to that though, passers-by had noticed the car, and because it was like so strange, it was just such an odd scene, they'd stopped and taken pictures. Very interestingly, there seemed to be a broken necklace nearby which belonged to Brianna. It wasn't until a couple of days later when Brianna's parents reported her missing. Now, there was a slight delay because, as I said, she was living with this friend, Gillian, and Gillian had actually been away during the period of time when Brianna didn't come home, so she hadn't noticed that she hadn't come home. When Brianna was reported missing, her car details were given in, so obviously they then were like, oh my god, this car had been towed. This was very disturbing for the family. Why would Brianna just leave her unopened paychecks in the car? Police got canine teams involved, but unfortunately nothing was found. Strangely, Brianna's dad, Bruce, got an anonymous tip weeks later. He heard she was being held captive in a farmhouse in Berkshire, 10 miles away from where her car was found. Raymond Ryans and Nathaniel Jackson were two substance dealers who rented that farmhouse and were apparently known to Brianna. Police raided the property and found no evidence that she was ever there, but they did find weapons and substances. The pair were arrested and later released. But then there was a twist. Months later, a woman named Legia Ray Collins, who was an acquaintance of Raymond, disappeared on the 4th of July 2004. Now, in the end, a woman named Ellen DeCharme confessed to murdering that woman over substance money, and some believe there may be a link between the two cases. The ex-boyfriend James aroused suspicion, but he actually passed away in a car accident years later. There are hopes that potentially DNA samples could eventually solve this case, but as of today, it still remains unsolved.